This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's talk about WrestleMania 19. Overall, it was very well received by fans. They gave the show 86.2% thumbs up in the Observer. As far as best match on the card, there were really only two contenders. It was Shawn and Jericho, and of course, you and Brock. The match itself goes 21 minutes and 4 seconds. It's for the SmackDown Championship. So I guess that's a little nod that shows you where SmackDown is. You know, we've established that typically Raw is the A show, but the SmackDown belt is on last. So you guys have been doing something right here, right?
Yeah, I think it was new. You know, Brock and I never main evented WrestleMania, and it was new and fresh. And I think that's the reason Vince decided to have that main event match. And he knew that we would have the best match on the card. Well, you know, Shawn and Jericho, of course, that's going to be, you know, one of the top two or the top match. It might have been better than ours, but, you know, he just knew that the match we would have would be a dream match, and it would be incredibly technical and flawless. And it was until the last move. Last move of the night.
We're going to get there. This is such a great match, and I hope that everyone listening to this will go watch, you know, since we're in WrestleMania season now, go watch the main event of WrestleMania 19 and enjoy one of the more interesting moments in Kurt Angle's career for sure. Yes. One of the things I've always wanted to ask is, I think typically the champion comes out last. You came out first here. What's up with that?
I don't know why. I think that Vince wanted to build up Brock even more, make him look like a bigger name. You know, he was really new. I mean, Brock, you know, like I said before, maybe 6 months started on TV 6 months prior. So he was relatively new. And I think that Vince wanted to accent Brock as the special, special attraction of the night. And he did. I mean, Brock, you know, the whole show. I mean, if you talk about WrestleMania 19, the one thing you're going to talk about is the Lesnar Angle match and what happened during it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Michael Cole's voice is completely gone by this point, and Meltzer would write, to explain Angle's shrinking left side, which has already begun to noticeably atrophy due to the nerve damage, which is not a good thing. They announced he had dropped from 237 pounds to 230 pounds, sacrificing some size because he's trying to pick up speed for the match. I never noticed this. Were you noticing that? I mean, were you losing weight because you weren't able to lift as heavy?
Yeah, I lost my appetite. I was in excruciating pain. My left arm was going numb all the time. I was losing strength. So, you know, I could tell noticeably after a couple of weeks that my arm started to atrophy and that it was getting smaller. So, you know, it was just the left arm. And, you know, I knew I was in trouble and I need to have something done for my neck to, you know, it was pretty scary at the time.
Let's talk about what Meltzer wrote here, because I think this is worth discussing. They also did a lot of high-level amateur technique, looking almost to impress their amateur wrestling friends, because most pro fans had never seen anything quite like it. It started slow. Angle was far more serious and didn't play to the audience. Even in his condition, except for the fact that he had a concerned look on his face, he didn't shy away from any moves. He took bumps on his neck and a hard clothesline. There's a line between guts and bad judgment, and most of your top wrestlers at times cross it, but he was all the way into another state.
He's right about that. I told Vince we were going to take it easy, but when you go out there, you know, it's just the fire, the excitement,
adrenaline.
Yeah, adrenaline just pumping, and you want to do your very best, and you want to put on the best performance you can. That's what we do. I mean, we take pride in that. It helps our egos. So, you know, to go in a match and take it easy, sure, you can do that at an untelevised event, but this was WrestleMania, and there was no way I was gonna do it half-assed. I was going to do everything I could. And I didn't have a lot of character in that match because I was focused on my neck and on the match and making sure I protected myself and that I didn't injure my neck any worse than it already was.
But, from a storyline standpoint, almost, you guys are two legitimate amateur wrestlers and everybody knows that. So it makes sense that, hey, we're not seeing sports entertainer Kurt Angle. This is Olympic Kurt Angle here to win a match.
It was a lot easier for me because, a lot of the pro wrestling moves, you have a lot of jarring on your neck. Obviously I was taking the bumps and everything, but amateur wrestling, I felt more at home there, more comfortable. So,
sure.
Doing fireman's carries and single legs and takedowns, it was more familiar to me than the pro wrestling. So it was, I knew that would separate us from other matches, and I knew that it would make the match better.
Meltzer would break down the match. He says Angle even took a backdrop over the top rope. He did a German suplex where he flipped Lesnar all the way over. He also did a sick move where he German suplexed Lesnar right into the turnbuckles, which looked awfully dangerous. I'm sure you've seen the match since. In hindsight, is there a move or two that you wish you hadn't have done that you thought were unnecessary risks? Or does that even cross your mind?
The only move that hurt me during that match, because my adrenaline was pumping so hard that I could barely feel anything, was I had a Brock in an ankle lock and he kicked me off, and I took a bump and my neck whiplashed, and I got up and grabbed my neck real quick. It's the only time in the match that I grabbed my neck, and it was an easy bump. It just happened. It was just the way I landed. It was odd. And, I didn't land flat on my back. I landed on my lower back and my neck whiplashed back. And, there was a shooting pain down both of my arms and down my neck. And it was pretty intense. So, I do remember that being the one time that I feel like I re-injured my neck again.
Well, that's in his book. Brock Lesnar wrote that he believed you forged on with the match because you wanted to collect that monster WrestleMania main event payday, and he didn't blame you. Meltzer reported that this is probably going to be your largest one-night payoff of your career, and depending on how the business went and how the purse was split, it could be up to $500,000. I'm not going to ask you to reveal any numbers here, but was WrestleMania 19 your biggest payday?
It was not, but it was one of my highest paydays. My match with Shawn Michaels was my biggest payday at WrestleMania 21. I think because it was a feature match and it was Shawn and myself, and there was no title on the line, so we weren't main eventing, but it was a dream match, and I think that's the reason why Vince paid me more for that match than the other matches. I main evented WrestleMania 19, sort of WrestleMania 20, because I was in a world title match, and WrestleMania 22, which I was in a world title match, but they weren't on very last. Right. But I made the same money on all three of those main events. But Shawn's match, I made a little bit more.
In hindsight, how important was going on last? I mean, just as the competitor, we know you're a competitor like nobody else. You won the Olympics, but that has to be important, right? To go on last, to say that you got to go on last.
It makes sense. It's the most traditional thing that you can do. When you have the last match, you're the main event. You're the feature of the show.
Yeah.
And every athlete aspires to be that. Everybody, that's what we're all there for. We all want to be in the main event. Just only two can do it. So it's a pretty tough wall to overcome.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.